Saints, said George Orwell in 1949, should always be judged guilty until they are proven innocent. Now, Mother Teresa of Calcutta seems to be the exact reverse of this cautious warning. She was the recipient of numerous awards, including the Nobel Peace Prize in 1979, the Balzan Prize for Promoting Humanity, and she was also listed 18 times during her life in the world's most admired men and women's poll. On the back of this glittering reputation, I decided to visit her Missionaries of Charity in Kolkata while touring India for a few months. Now, while in Kolkata, I purchased a book in a second-hand bookshop, The Missionary Position it was called, by the late author Christopher Hitchens. The decision to purchase the manuscript led to research that revealed the truth about this quite devious woman. I asked myself the question, Mother Teresa, righteous saint, or fraudulent fundamentalist? Now, I know that some of you are thinking, well, how could you criticise and decry such a saintly dignitary? Well, that's part of the problem, that particular attitude. You see, Mother Teresa, or Agnes, which is her real name, is almost beyond reproach. She seems to slip under the radar of criticism that most public figures are subject to. There are so many reasons to question her integrity. For example, financial misgivings, cruelty to patients, objections to divorce, contraception and abortion are some such reasons. It begs the question, was Agnes devoid of ethics, compassion and morality? We know that she subscribed to a fundamental interpretation of Christianity. For example, she said, "Pain and suffering have come into your life, but remember, pain, sorrow, suffering are but the kiss of Jesus, a sign that you have come so close to him that he can kiss you." It's almost like she embraced misery and anguish, believing that when a victim was in distress that he or she was somehow closer to Jesus. She could not draw a distinction between avoidable and non-avoidable suffering. Again, to quote her, "There is something beautiful in seeing the poor accept their lot, to suffer it like Christ's passion. The world gains much from their suffering." It's possible she was a masochist who extracted significant pleasure in seeing torment. Of a person enduring fierce pain from terminal cancer, she mused, "One day I met a lady who was dying of cancer in a most terrible condition, and I told her, I say, you know, this terrible pain is only the kiss of Jesus, a sign that you have come so close to Jesus on the cross that he can kiss you." After joining hands with the patient aptly replied to Agnes, "Please tell Jesus to stop kissing me." Because of her uncompromising beliefs, her charity in Kolkata, and indeed many others around the world in which she had an involvement, were weakly operated and were defective in providing care and compassion to those in need. It's unknown how many people agonised in unnecessary pain and misery. It's probable that thousands of patients died and suffered preventable disorders. Her homes for the sick and dying have been described by doctors as being deficient in basic commodities such as hygiene, care, nutrition and painkillers. An American volunteer called Gonzalez was actually so stunned by his experience that he established an alternative charity in Kolkata that provides adequate care to vulnerable, sick and dying people. Of Mother Teresa's charity, Gonzalez said, "Needles were washed in cold water and reused, and expired medicines were given to inmates. There were people who had the chance to live if given proper care. I've decided to go back to Kolkata to start a charity that will be called Responsible Charity. Each donation will be made public and professional medical help will be given." But it's not just medical negligence that has been suppressed. Financial misconduct has been at the heart of Agnes's behaviour. The German magazine Stern revealed that of the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been donated to Agnes and the charity, she only used around 7% in assisting the poor and the infirm. So where did the rest of the money go, I hear you ask? It was deposited into secret bank accounts and used for opening more missions. Some of it was funneled back into the Catholic Church. Christopher Hitchens maintained that her intention was not to help people. He also insists that she lied to donors about the use of their contributions. In his own words, "It was by talking to her that I discovered, and she assured me that she wasn't working to alleviate poverty. She was working to expand the number of Catholics. She said, 'I'm not a social worker. I don't do it for this reason. I do it for Christ. I do it for the Church.'" Unsurprisingly, the Church chose to ignore Hitchens' version of Agnes, and in 2015 paved the way for Agnes to be recognised as a saint. Essentially, Agnes was a recruitment tool for the Catholic Church. The Church exploited Agnes, she exploited the poor. Again, to quote Christopher Hitchens, Mother Teresa was not a friend of the poor, she was a friend of poverty. She said that suffering was a gift from God. She spent her life opposing the only known cure to poverty, which is the empowerment of women and the emancipation of them from a livestock version of compulsory reproduction. So Agnes was in fact an egocentric, self-centred, conceited fundamentalist who lied and duped the world into deeming her to be a friend of the poor. The reality, in my judgment anyway, is that she reviled and loathed the poor and the sick and the dying. She was content for them to perish because, in her judgment, they would be with God. To end with another quote by Christopher Hitchens, everything everyone thinks they know about Mother Teresa is false. It must be the single most successful con job of the 20th century.